quick examination of the evidence to hand. A couple of 100,000 bikers of all ages and sizes converging on a seaside resort on Florida's Atlantic coast, preening, strutting their stuff, showing up and showing off. Up north, the land lies covered in a blanket of ice and snow. Not exactly motorcycle weather, but not here. Here the sun's out, the surf's up, and the crowd is gathering. If it's March, this must be Daytona. And if it's Daytona, this must be Bike Week. On the surface of it, Daytona is just another huge gathering of bikes. But don't be fooled by surface. Sure, Daytona is a good deal about show, but it's a great deal about tell. And in Daytona's case, the tell is all about racing. All kinds of racing. From drag, to dirt track, to superbike.
Sound can stand up to this. Loud enough to knock you down. Burnout.
But the blue ribbon event in all of this is undoubtedly the Daytona 200. The inaugural Daytona event in 1937 was on a 3-mile course that ran north along the beach and south along the road. Over the years, the activities of property developers ate into the beach part of the circuit, and the racers finally surrendered to the inevitable in 1960. Since then, the Daytona 200 has been run at the International Speedway, but it can't compete on a romantic level with the concept of a race whose start time was dictated by the tide.
I was hungry. I started racing the bikes. Raced one race. Walter Davidson called me and wanted me to come over and visit him, so I started racing for Harley, second race.
These aren't just some of the greatest Harley-Davidson riders ever. These are some of the greatest riders, period.
I've raced Harley all my life, but I got hooked up with Harley in 1957. They started helping me.
Their days in the saddle are regarded by many as the golden era of the sport. But those days aren't today or yesterday. Time catches up on us all, doesn't it?
I'm the oldest guy racing in the United States today.
He is, you know. Al Knapp is 80 years old and still going strong. Al Knapp is a star of the AHMA. Al Knapp just won't give up.
I never sit on the starting line without planning on winning the race meet. And I think that everybody else feels that way that really goes racing. If I ever get to where I don't feel that I'm going to win the race meet, I won't go. I'll be all done.
The antique races at Daytona are a rich picking ground for a fine breed of eccentric. They don't have the same experience as Al, but they have a similar outlook on the important things.
Oh yeah, it's scary every time I get on it. But you see the suspension's just a set of springs on a seat. You better have them tucked away nicely.
I'm just out here to have fun. Ride around, wave at the crowd, and keep that tradition going. Well, slow but sure. It's finished every race it ever ran.
But as anyone involved in racing will tell you, it doesn't matter how well prepared you think you are. Sometimes things just go wrong. Why? Because that's racing.
Al Knapp having transmission trouble. It's Daytona. If you don't have the Daytona jinx, you're not here.
Why would I do it now instead of practice? If it would have done in practice, I could change the gearbox in an hour. Very, very, very disappointing. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being disaster, 11.
So this year wasn't to be Al's year, but there's always next year. And if we're to learn anything at all from Al Knapp, well, maybe it's this. The races may have left the beach, but the romance hasn't quite left the race.
I've been racing since I was 11 years old.
Jennifer Snyder is a dirt track racer.
I think I was born to race.
Dirt track is made up of 4 different types of racetrack. Daytona is a short track, quarter mile or less. But there's also half-mile oval, and TT, which includes right-hand turns and jumps. To win the championship, a dirt track racer has to have a lot of talent and a strong team.
Dirt track racing, it's an American form of racing, and Harley-Davidson is a major contributor to that.
All dirt track racers' ultimate goal, I think, is to be on the Harley team. They definitely provide the best motorcycles and have an awesome mechanic.
Bill Werner is that awesome mechanic. In the last 25 years, he has tuned the bike of the Grand National Champion no less than 13 times. In fact, in 25 years, his riders have never been lower than 4th.
But in the words of our CEO at the time, Vaughn Beals, he said, you don't have to win every race. You have to be a threat to win every race. You don't have to win every championship. You have to be a threat to win every championship. And I took those words to heart.
Rich King took over from 9-time champion Scott Parker just 2 years ago. Rich has been second in the championship for the last 3 years. Now with Jennifer recovering from injury, all eyes and all Bill's attention are firmly focused on Rich.
It seems like I've been second quite often, so we're trying to shake that. You know, we know how it feels to be second. We'd like to be on top one time, and that's a lot of the reason why I'm with Harley-Davidson is because I want to be at the top.
Some people work all day on their job, weeks on their job, never know if they did a good job or a bad job. Don't get any feedback. I know every Monday whether I did a good job or a bad job. I get feedback.
So in the end, maybe it's not just about adrenaline. Maybe it's more about job satisfaction. Or maybe not. These guys want to be racers. That's all they want to be. That's all they've ever wanted to be.
Actually, in grade school, I wanted to be a cheerleader, and then I got on a motorcycle, and that's all there was for me.
Obviously. Daytona during Bike Week isn't exactly a quiet place, but then it's not about being quiet. It's about standing up and shouting, "Look at me." And when it's all over, it's not about slinking away into the night. It's about saying your goodbyes on a grand scale. This is America. Let's have a parade. There can be no better metaphor for Daytona Bike Week. Show and tell.